Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool arcade game repair video for you this evening. We are working on this awesome Williams Joust arcade game. This belongs to our buddy Adam at the beach. He's been having problems with it, so he sent it up to us. We're going to try to get it going for him. So I'm not really sure what it's doing. He said something about the power connector on the game board, and I think he wants us to install like a high score kit in it. And the I've heard rumors that the monitor isn't working right either. So the first thing I'm going to do, what you always do if you get a unknown game like this thing looks really nice, doesn't it? But we don't know what the inside's like. So the first thing we're going to do is open it up and just look inside of it and see if we see anything obviously screwed up, like if somebody left a screwdriver sitting on top of the monitor, because you don't want to turn them on whenever there's something loose inside, or something's falling off, or there's something laying on somewhere that it shouldn't be. So we'll pop it open and look inside of it first. So we took the back door off, and it's got a Wells Garner 4600 monitor, very old school monitor, but looks like it's been recapped and everything. So we'll see what's going on with that. He was saying something about that you can't turn down the brightness or something like that. It looks like it was just serviced by Arcade Parts and Repair. That guy does a good job. So we'll see what's going on with it. And we've got the game board. Somebody has put new connectors on it, so that's good. They added a button cell battery, which is good. Originally these had AA batteries on it, but they like to rot sometimes. Let's see what this is. A little identification tag from someone. This is the widget board. It handles all the in-out stuff. This is the ROM board, right? With new connectors on it as well. This is the sound board. And then the power supply is missing, but we had it in a separate box. It looks like he just got it back from El Dorado Games. They work on a lot of stuff. So I would assume that power supply is probably good. So I think the first thing I'll do is just plug it in and turn it on and see what it does. I don't see anything, out of place. No reason that we can't turn it on. Of course, it's not going to boot up because the power supply is not in it, but I'm just going to see if the monitor is acting like it wants to cooperate and what's going on. So we'll plug it in. So I plugged it in, and the monitor is looking good. I turned it up, the brightness just a little bit, just so that you can see the raster. Since we don't have a signal going to it, if you turn the brightness up just a little bit so you can see a little bit of brightness, it'll prove to you that it's on. The flashing that you're seeing is just from the camera. It's not really doing that in person. So the monitor looks good. So next up, we're going to install that power supply and see what we get. So we mounted the power supply back in there and plugged everything back up. The connector from the little bottle cap transistor there that plugs in was all messed up, so we replaced that. It was all burnt up. Everything else looks good. There was a little note in the box saying that it keeps blowing a fuse for the coin door bulbs. So I think that's because these coin door bulb holders are just all screwed up. So we'll have to replace those. Like whenever they get that old and wobbly, what they'll do is they'll short together and it'll make a fuse blow. But that's not that big of a deal. So since we've put in a new power supply, what I've done is I've unplugged the power going to the main board, to the ROM board, and to the sound board. And the reason you do that is because you don't know what the power supply is putting out. Like it might put out 10 volts instead of the 5 volts that it's supposed to or something. So I've unplugged that, and then I'm going to test the voltages and see if it looks like they're where they're supposed to be. So we'll get the paperwork and see the best way to test those. Alright, so that was simple, that part. So I tested the voltages. They were pretty good out of the box, and the game booted right up. Said all tests or all systems go. So I've got it a little bit too bright again, so let me see if I can reach around the back and adjust the brightness. It's a little bit too bright still. I think he mentioned that. If I turn off the lights, maybe we can see. Let me turn off the lights. Okay, so I turned the lights off, and it was slightly too bright still, but there are actually two brightness adjustments. So I adjusted the other one, and it made it dark like it should be. It looks to me, though, like the green might be a little bit low. Let's see here. Part of working on these is just adjusting the colors a little bit. So there's my blue. There's my green. And that's my red. Yeah, I think that's a little better. Oop. The white is more white. Green is a little more doing its thing. And so the monitor looks pretty good. It didn't look like it was centered perfectly though, but I don't know. I don't know about that. So we'll go into the test menu and we'll see if everything's working. All of the buttons. So I've got it in sound test. And they're all testing good. Alright, so we're in switch test now. I can't get a place where you can see good without the thing. Let's test our switches. One player start. Two player start. Left and right for the second player. Flap for the second player. Flap for the first player. Left and right for the first player. Auto up. High score reset. Advance button. Color RAM test. Red, red, red. Green, green, green. Blue, blue. Okay, cool. That's good. And so I got it as centered as I could. It's a little bit too far that way, but this is a 4600, and you like centering isn't easy to do on a 4600. So that's about as good as I could get it. There's the color bars. Bookkeeping totals. Game adjustments. I wonder if he wanted it to be units required for credit. He was saying on the other one he wanted it to be 50 cents. Units required for credit 2. Okay, look at this. It says pricing selection, left slot units 1, center slot units 4, right slot units 1, units required for credits 2. So the reason that the center one was supposed to be 4 was because of the Susan Anthony dollar. They were trying to make that a big deal for a while. Never caught one. Look. Ron, Joe, Tim. I wonder if those are the built-in names. So, see at the very top how you can see a little bit of trash up there? That's normal. What all that means is there's a I wish it was a little more centered. All that means is that it's doing like math and stuff. It has something to do with the way the see if I can find the right. Well, I better not do that in the dark. It has something to do with the way they use some of the RAM. It makes little marks on the edge of the screen. So I don't think I can make it any better left or right. I can make it a little taller and we'll get rid of that little bit of static at the top. And the only other thing I see is we need to replace those 2 light bulbs there and the sockets, and then also the light bulb's not working on the 1 player. So we'll do that real quick and then let's see how it turns out. Okay, folks, so I put new coin door bulbs in and sockets, and I replaced the two bulbs on the start buttons. They came right on, looked good. Adjusted the monitor a little bit earlier, it looks good. And the thing is ready to go. So that was actually a pretty easy one. And I mentioned the high score save kit. I was just repeating what my brother had told me. Of course, on this game, it saves your high scores with the battery, so you don't need a high score save kit. Wah, wah, wah. It won't let you save your high score. It would get to the point where you're supposed to save your high score, but it wouldn't let you save your high score. So we looked around online, and other people have ran into that same problem, and a few people have figured out that it's something with the widget board, they call it, the in-out board, the interface board. So there's a little board in the back that controls all the controls. Well, the controls work fine while you're playing the game, but it can get to a situation where it won't let you input your initials. It'll say, player 1, and you're on the high list, insert your initials, but it won't do anything. Even though all of the controls were just working, they'll stop working. So we figured out it was on that little interface board, the main chip on that board, the 6821 PIA chip, which I think means peripheral interface adapter. In Bally pinball machines, those go bad a lot, and that was the problem. So we swapped that, and it fixed it. Now, the thing was working. I mean, like I said, while you're playing the game, the controls work fine using that same chip. But for whatever reason, there's something in that chip that can go bad and make it where it will not allow you to insert your initials. So if you run into that, that's what's going on. Oh! What the hell's that one doing? He was down there riding the pterodactyl. Too low? Oh, I got too low. But I did get a better game than I usually do. So I think I'm getting better. I'm gonna keep playing until I get so good that I can play against that guy Lon, who's like the greatest ever on KLOV. So I can play against him for like an hour. I'm gonna keep practicing. I figure by 2030 I'll be able to do that. By the time you see this video, this probably won't be in our showroom anymore. It'll probably be in Adam's place down at the beach, in the mall. You should go by there and check it out if you want. But we'll probably have some other cool stuff in. Just subscribe to us here on YouTube. We get different videos that we put up all the time. And we've got a lot of stuff for sale at all times. You can go to lionsarcade.com to see what we've got for sale. Make sure to leave us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film this for you. Take you along on the journey playing this great classic. Leave your comments below. I know you got some Joust memories you want to share with everybody. Maybe you can tell me some secrets so I can get a little bit better. Look, extra mount every 20,000 points. It even tells you on the title screen so that you'll pop that quarter in. So leave your comments below. Make sure to subscribe to us if you haven't already. And we will see you on the next video. Joust.